Strike A Chord Podcast. Music chit chat with your hosts Valentina Gikowski and Amla Piriakaba. Welcome to Strike A Chord. We have the amazing Danielle Steller with us today.
Hi.
Yay. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. So I'm going to jump straight into
let's go.
a question.
Mhm.
So you're a songstress, sound healer, and you do meditation as well, right?
Yeah, meditation.
Oh, we'll go into that. I
Yeah.
want to start the sound healing.
Okay.
So I'd like to ask you, what is sound healing? Because it's such a it's a big statement, sound healing, as in it could mean many things. And I've done it before.
Mhm.
I've been a participant in sound healing. And what is it to you? What does it
So
encompass?
sound healing, I suppose, as much as that's the term that's been coined and is used, I
Yeah.
feel like it doesn't resonate with me so much because
Mm.
healing kind of like the word healing implies that we're broken, right? So
Oh, look, some of us can be.
but at the same
Some of us
time,
are, some of us can
you
be.
know, I feel like we're just moving through life, right? Like whether we're like carrying traumas or processing things, we're moving through, we're growing as we
Yep.
go. So I feel like sound healing like implies that there's this Messiah that comes along and is healing everyone with their magical hands. So like I am in no way a Messiah, but I feel like I guess sound healing or sound as a medicine of sorts is vibrations,
Yep.
vibrational medicine that's kind of used in an immersive way so that everybody can kind of tune into themselves and their truth and just let go and let the energy flow and remove any blockages that are in their body and on many levels, like the physical body, the emotional body, the mind body. We're complex beings, you know?
Yeah. So you in actual fact guide.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah. I create a soundscape. I create the right environment for
Okay.
people to do their own journeying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with all of that, you work on certain frequencies.
Yeah. So 432
Yeah.
is what I work
Okay.
with.
Yeah.
I'm quite in tune.
Yeah,
with
which
the
is
frequencies.
Yeah.
the universal energy.
Yes.
That's what most sound practitioners use.
Yep.
And just kind of all of the instruments that I use are tuned to
Yep.
that frequency. You probably know that 440 is the standard with instruments. So
Yes.
when you're doing collaborations, it's kind of, unless you're collaborating with another practitioner, there's going to be that slight.
Yeah.
But it's not the
Yeah.
natural tuning of the instruments.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
It's
So
been-
it's
it's been-
that's
yeah,
right. It was
yeah,
brought
yeah.
in as a standard.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was that sort of like brought it in, but the actual natural tuning of the instrument is not at 440. It's actually at 439
39 or
or
something.
no,
Yeah.
37 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's
Interesting,
not the
hey?
natural tuning, but then again, these days a lot of people tune and at their own sort of like, you know, liking, I suppose. They have detunings of instruments and
Yeah.
they experiment, and that's where those frequencies come in.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked, you know, I know you do things with the bowls and everything like that, and you
Yep.
have them tuned at the
They're
certain
all
frequencies. Yeah.
432. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can hear the difference too, because you can get bowls that are 440.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. In case you
Ah.
want to kind of work with other musicians and create like a collaborative kind of
like a performance or something like that.
yeah, that
Okay.
kind of thing. And I've heard them, and they do sound pitch perfect. You can hear them, but it just doesn't feel the same, even
It
though it's
doesn't
only like a little
resonate.
bit. Yeah, it just doesn't feel the same. Yeah.
It's an interesting field. Again, music and frequencies, that equals energy, right?
Yeah.
So, and we talked about this a lot, where music brings out emotion and it brings out various emotions and various probably various memories as well that you've gone through, where you've probably heard a song that it reminds you of a certain memory, whether it's good or bad. But again, it works on those frequencies, and I know, because I meditate as well, and sometimes I meditate on different frequencies. I suppose it depends on how I feel.
Yeah.
But there are certain ways of meditating with sound, right?
Mhm.
Like what do you recommend when you meditate? As in, if someone's had a a big day or they need to meditate, what is your recommended go-to for meditation? A sound.
Honestly,
on
it's
a
really
soundscape.
people are so unique in
Okay.
how they unwind.
Yeah.
Like it actually took me a long time to get into meditation myself. It wasn't until I found something on YouTube that was chakra healing,
Okay.
and it was kind of guiding through the chakras and the different colors. And I always used to think, oh, that's nonsense. I was such a cynic, you know.
Yeah.
But then it actually focusing and visualizing helped me let go and
Yep.
helped me
Open
kind
up
of
the chakras and
find,
stuff. Yeah.
another vehicle for the mind to just kind of go in a different direction. And I found myself relaxing, you know. So it's difficult to put one
Yeah.
kind of one size fits all kind of thing for a way for people to unwind. Like there are different things you could do, like breath work as well,
Yeah.
that I sometimes integrate into sound.
Yeah. Breathwork is quite important. Like
Huge.
It's very
breathing.
powerful. You're going with the sound healing. It can also get rid of anything that's stuck in underneath the
Yeah.
surface that you're not aware of half the time,
Yeah.
and release the tension
True.
that's in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we I know when we perform or before we perform and do gigs and whatever it is, we get that the adrenaline and the agitation and the nervousness, you
Yeah.
know. And we talked about this a lot of times where
Yeah.
we try and go and meditate before we perform, try and find a quiet place just to focus and just to sort of bring everything into perspective instead of going out there and rushing and making mistakes and getting nervous and getting a bit of stage fright. So it helps. But you're encompassing sounds. So you're encompassing your background of music, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been doing it for like 15 plus years.
Yeah, it's like I think it's been a natural kind of flow into the sound healing kind of world, but yeah, music is definitely the foundation of it because and that, like you said about how songs can remind you of things from your childhood and take you places.
Yep.
Like that's exactly the overlap that I feel with the journeys that I kind of host. It's I integrate like vocals and ukulele and I basically make up songs on the spot, like based on the energy in the room. So I'll feel into different things that people are moving through. I can see what's happening and you know, like people crying or things building up, and I'll start to sing what I feel is going to help them move through it. It's really cool.
Improvisation.
Yeah, it's real. It's when you go into that place of improvising, it's like it's you're in a different place. Like you're almost channeling something, and it just
It's
flows.
always different.
It's always different.
Yeah.
So every time I walk into a new space and I do a new offering, it's completely different. The songs aren't like prepared; they're just completely like
In the moment.
in the moment. Yeah.
And there's
love that.
such a beauty with that, where it's not prepared. It's like, just do it.
Yeah, and you know that kind of gets rid of the nerves too.
Yeah,
because you lose that like perfectionism, and you just kind of go, I have to completely trust in what I'm about to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you also got to acknowledge it yourself.
Yeah.
You got to trust, but you got to first acknowledge it that, all right, this is what I'm going to do now.
Yep.
And then you got to trust yourself and say, well, you know, if shit happens, it happens.
Yep.
But if you go, you set yourself that expectation when you acknowledge, you say, all right, now this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be improv. Just let it flow,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
But you studied in the UK.
No, so the place Sound Healing Academy is based in the UK.
It's based in the UK.
Yeah, so I studied online because they're over there.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a lot of places to learn about sound here. So I kind of
that's
did what I
Yeah.
could. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is music therapy, but that's a different thing altogether. But this is sound. So I think, a lot of it is figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Really. And when you're helping people, have you said before, everyone's different. So that's your training, isn't it? That's your progression,
Well,
your
the
development.
practical, yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. You can learn all of the theory in the world, but once you're actually doing it, that's when you start to feel into different people's energy, and you become really sensitive actually to things. You can walk into a room and be like, whoa, okay, this is going to be a really powerful one tonight. You know, like,
Oh.
I'm going to need the gong and the big, the
Yeah,
rain stick.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to need some big,
the smoke.
Sage.
yeah,
and the Palo Santo.
all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Alex comes in.
Oh, yes, always
Yeah.
burning something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But ever since I started meditating a few years back, I've felt the same.
Yeah.
Like, I open something in my mind or in my soul, and then I've noticed that I get affected a lot by negative energy now. Like I can't stay there for long. I can't handle it for long. It's like exit stage left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think that you learn over time how to control that as well. Because a lot of different people, especially when we do gigs and you're performing to people, there's a lot of different people in the audience, and they're absorbing all your energy, and you feel really tired afterwards, like drained. And I think you need to recoup that energy. And I think this is a way that might be the way, with the soundscaping and everything like that. But again, you need a person to guide you through.
Yeah.
You need that person, you need that guidance. And I think that's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
But you were saying before about theory. Is there theory?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's actually quite a lot. Yeah.
Really?
There's a lot of studies that have gone into this field. And, there are people working with singing bowls in hospitals, like it's becoming like the next version of meditation. Like people are actually starting to put studies into it now for something that's existed for thousands of years. I mean, the Tibetan monks have been using their singing bowls and, in China they were using the gongs. Like these are instruments that have existed for many, many years, but now we're only starting to kind of figure it out,
It's true. Only now.
You're so true. And it's starting to get acknowledged on a wider level. There's that transition, I think, of a lot of people going into that realm now, into the spiritual realm, because I think we're hitting the limit, of our everyday lives and
with what's happening around the world.
People are unhappy.
Yeah.
And once I know, because I'm proof of myself, when I went on to started meditating and started to see things in a different light, it's exciting. It's different. It's you tend to you attract those sort of people.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
And you start to have this common thing amongst the people, and it's a good thing because it's all positive. It's not, you're not thinking about all the issues that are happening in the world and this and that, and whether I'm gonna be able to catch up with my finances or this or that. You just, at that point of that moment, it's not, everything is, it's not relative to anything.
Yeah, because in the present moment, none of those things exist.
Yeah. I've mentioned a lot of times that we're in the matrix, so we just have to jump out of that and just really feed our souls. And and you were saying about being a healer. I think we're all healers, and
exactly. We're in charge of our own kind of processes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think being an artist and having that that soul of being an artist, like we all are, we tend to get there quicker. Everyone's an artist, right? But I think the people who are in that routine.
Yeah.
You mean like the creative?
Yeah, the creative.
Yeah.
I think that helps. That's what I want.
Always,
like
I guess with being in that, we're already tapping into our inner intuition or our inner emotions.
Yep.
And like you said, I guess it's harder. It can be harder for someone, say, in a corporate world surrounded by technology all the time, who's not potentially doing something for themselves that's creative.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware.
Yeah, and not aware,
even if they did, having to switch that off to fit in.
Yes, that's right. It's
actually,
the
interesting that you mentioned that. Do they have to switch off? I reckon it'll work much better. I've worked in the corporate world for many, many years.
Yeah, I have
now,
too,
if I go back, I reckon I'll see it in a different light. And I think it'll be much easier for me.
I guess it depends in what area. Like, I used to work in HR.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I was hiring and firing people all day.
Okay.
And so for me to be able to cope with that, like to see people crying in front of me saying, don't do this to me, like I need this job. Like, how do you cope with that? Like for me, I just... No, but that was before that. That was before that. But yeah, like I had to shut off to be able to actually cope with it. And now after that, I'm seeing like, wow, gosh, that was a lot. Like I had to switch off the empath in me, which was really...
Yeah, you become a robot.
Yeah. And it was the only way that I could really get through. And I feel like a lot of people do that in the workplace. They just push it all away into a nice little neat box. They deal with it later. But then they never actually get to deal with it.
Exactly.
Until it all potentially blows up in a moment. Yeah.
Or it affects their health in the long term.
That's where the stress comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where you can't handle it anymore. And then some people either fight it or some people just drop the ball and they don't fight it and they give into it. So, and I think that happens a lot these days.
Yeah.
It happens a hell of a lot. And I think these sort of these avenues where, you know, you got meditation, you got, you know, your healing, whether it be sound or other sorts of this sort of natural healing, I think you need to say that you are there, or you are not only just believe in it, but you are what you are, right? So if you don't have that in you, and I think you'll always have some sort of doubt, or you'll be stressed, or you'll fall sick, or anything like that. It's about that thing about, all right, this is what I am, and you said living in the moment, but also helping yourself heal.
Yeah.
Like I was like that. I was in the corporate world for many years, and then I started meditating. I thought, you know what, this is much better, and it helped me.
Yeah.
You know, I used to come home and I used to be like, I used to just veg out. I used to just sit in front of the TV and not watch.
Yeah, because you don't want to think anymore. You just want to.
You want to unwind.
Everyone was, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like I had my family. I'll have my family talking to me. I just was like a zombie.
Yeah.
Because you're in that fight or flight response all day.
Correct.
You know, so it's like your body's just going, I just need to tune out for a bit to kind of unwind. You know, I don't want to think anymore. I don't want to be on alert. I just want to.
Exactly. And I think sometimes what did help me was my music, and that was sort of like a meditative journey as well, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So I had to change my lifestyle, which I did.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. But where was the turning point for you? Like I know you mentioned you in HR. And was it after that? And what happened? What was that point where you said, all right, nah, I need to change, or I'm going to go crazy?
Yeah. I think I had a few points in my life, but I think the main point was actually completely out of my control, which most things are. When the pandemic happened, everything closed. All my gigs were pretty much postponed. And so I didn't have to rehearse for anything. I didn't have to learn anything. And I was like, well, I've got these singing bowls that I've been meaning to kind of figure out for a while. Maybe this is the time. You know, like I don't have any excuses anymore to not do this. You know, I was always just getting in my own way. No, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And but I always knew that this was something I needed to do. And I think all of like finding your truth it always starts with play. That's what I believe. It always starts with play. And so I just thought, well, there's no pressure. So I'm just going to play. And I did. And you know, my kids and my husband, they were relaxed hearing me kind of play with the bowls and everything. So I thought, okay, there are a lot of people struggling at the moment. So I was like, why don't I just do some Facebook Lives and see if my friends might benefit?
Give it a crack. Yeah.
So I just kind of put it online. And then I was like, I saw a lot of my like musician friends putting little PayPal links up, and I was like, maybe I'll just like put a little PayPal link up just to see. And I actually had people donating and going, yeah, I love this. Like I'm just listening like while I'm working, and this is really helping. So please do it again. And they're sending me money, and I'm like, okay, where is this going?
Yeah.
And I had a friend that runs a yoga studio, and I was like, hey, I was thinking when things open up, like I know you've been trying to get me to do something there. Like I was thinking maybe I could tap into this sound thing. And she's like, yes, I've been seeing your lives. Let's do it. And I did my first session when everything opened up at her studio, and it was sold out. And it's just been crazy since then, like the past 3 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's what you do now.
That was the turning. Well, I still do gigs and things, but it's few and far between. I seem to just be doing mostly sound immersions and amazing kind of crazy things like.
Fantastic. So in regards to your gigs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go.
What style of music? I was just thinking, what kind of music are you singing and playing in?
I guess how can you kind of capture it into a genre, like intuitive kind of music, I don't know.
Oh, so it is intuitive music. It's linked in with the sound healing. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically just written at the time. So I suppose maybe folk/world, perhaps. Yeah. It's hard to say, really, though, isn't it? Like
that's the whole beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before about genres, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to sometimes categorize something.
Yeah.
And to categorize something means that you need to fit in. Sometimes we don't fit in.
Yeah. And like I've got like quite an R&B soul type of voice, and to hear that with like acoustic instruments is different again. So it's like, how do you? I just don't know how to categorize that.
Yeah. World, bit of everything.
Yeah.
Well, universe.
Universal music. Yeah, there needs to be a new genre.
But then it becomes a brand.
Yeah, exactly.
With I suppose you play instruments, right?
Yeah.
You play the obviously.
Yeah, so ukulele
you play
is.
ukulele as well.
So I could see it.
It's like a duff.
Oh, what's that called again? That drum? I forget what it's called.
Ocean drum.
Ocean drum.
Yeah, so it looks like a frame drum because it's on one
is.
side it is, but on the other side, check it out. Have a play.
Oh, beautiful!
It's amazing.
It's like a duff. You know,
A duff?
Have a try.
You know,
with one hand.
Yeah, so I guess when you start, kind of when I first got it, it was like quite loud, but when you start to play with it,
oh yeah, that sounds really nice.
I get you. That's why it's called the ocean drum.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I feel like I'm not at Brighton Beach. I'm at a different beach that is more peaceful.
And you can kind of play it over people as you move around the room. So that's what I do, and I sing while I'm doing it, like whatever comes through. So you know, it might be like a. See how it just kind of flows? It's
fantastic.
just,
That's fantastic.
And it's just, you can see people kind of lulling deeper and deeper, and you just flow with it. Yeah.
It's got a Polynesian feel.
Yeah.
Take that. Whoops.
How do we put it down now? Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh.
So in amongst all of that, what is your drive? What's your drive to do this every day? What, because everyone's got a drive, right? Everyone. But
I just feel like, I guess I move with all of this in quite an intuitive way, I suppose you could say. Like, I feel like as long as I'm of service, I feel like that's my sole purpose, to be of service in some way.
so it's the helping.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
How good is that?
That's so beautiful, to be of service.
Yeah.
I
And
love
if
that.
this is no longer of service anymore, if there's enough out there and
Well, you'll find
I'm
something
done,
else.
I'll probably end up doing something else. And that's kind of, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
as long as I'm.
Such a good outlook, such a positive outlook, because sometimes when people don't feel that they're of service, then they feel that they're done. And, you know, that's where the problems lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, you gotta move on. And, you know, with sound, it's never ending.
Yeah.
And with music in general, it's never ending.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing can really, really change people. I think that's the most important thing, to change people for the better. You know, if
Maybe not to change them, but maybe to see that they've always been who they need to be.
correct.
Yeah.
I take back my statement.
Or like
You know?
for people to come back to their true selves. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I feel like there's so much out there that preaches about, I have to find myself. I need to do this to find myself. It's you're already here.
Yeah.
You're already here, but we just got to get rid of all of the layers of conditioning first to see actually beneath all of it. I've always been the person that I want to be. I've just maybe held on to fear or judgment, you know, or insecurity that stops me from being my fullest expression.
Yeah.
You
But-
know?
I think the most important is the awareness,
Yeah.
because if you're not aware of that, that's what you'll be thinking.
Yeah.
If you're aware of it, you're aware of it, you know. But a lot of people, they're not aware, so they're gonna say, "Oh, you know, I want to change, I want to do this, I want to do that," or you gotta, as you said, you gotta your own soul, right? It's what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy. Because we don't do it as often enough. We're caught up in the
fear,
fear and its
yeah.
insecurities, as you said.
Yeah.
And I think that it's the killer, really, for some people. And being, having that routine, going to work, coming back, going to work, coming back, going to work, coming back, having that routine, you get further and further and further away from the things that you really want to do. I know people who, with the pandemic, I'll mention it again. I hate mentioning it.
Yeah. That's why I don't mention the C word. I always just say pandemic.
I hate mentioning it. Doesn't, for me, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But people have, I think it was a good thing, because actually a lot of people changed their lifestyle and their lives. They actually started doing things that they wanted to do.
Just like me, like what you heard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sure even the two of us
Yeah.
have changed.
Heaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And all it takes is the thing
pandemic.
that shall not be named.
Yeah.
to
I feel like it was a collective awakening. Like
Yeah.
suddenly
Correct.
everybody saw,
And
hold
it's-
on,
and
I'm
it's still
not in
happening.
alignment with
And-
what I actually want to do.
Correct. So true. And
it
it's
forced
still
us all
happening.
to stop and look at and go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I was just sitting there going,
So true.
what am I doing? You know,
Yeah.
I know. We had a couple
Self-inquiry.
of conversations with both. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in saying all that, you got to have people around you too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Whether it's family, whether it's friends, or we're social beings in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that
Absolutely.
that energy, as we mentioned before, if you get someone with good energy and you give good energy, there's that exchange. You'll always feel positive. If you get someone who's going to just absorb that energy, and it might be someone that doesn't know that's doing it.
Yeah. Sometimes we can get stuck in our own story.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And that's when we create,
Yeah.
as you do, on the
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can't explain.
No.
And, it just happens.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that science and things they can't explain.
Yeah.
They
In many
can't explain.
years, I'm sure that they'll be able to. But
They'll be doing
Many,
research
many-
on that too.
Yeah.
Many years.
yeah.
But there is that, I think, that you mentioned before, that awakening, where I think now science and spirituality, I think they're starting to combine and cross over a little bit, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't explain your emotions sometimes. You can't explain why when you get stressed, your stomach hurts, or when you
Yeah.
get stressed, you get sick, or when you are feeling happy, or all these emotions, people cry and people, you still can't explain that really to a T.
And there's so many layers that we have, and that's what I say when we first start our sound experiences is like, check in with the physical body, and then next, like, check in with the emotional body, and where does that emotion sit in your physical body?
Yes.
Because sometimes it takes acknowledging where it is. Like maybe your stomach does feel uncomfortable, but maybe you've been also feeling a little bit lost.
Yeah.
Like your sense of self is kind of fading away, and that the solar plexus is that core. Really, it sits there in the middle. So it's like sometimes it really does overlap, and you're like, oh yeah, I have been feeling a little bit lost lately. I don't know which direction I'm going in, and I'm really like lacking confidence, and so all of that is associated with that chakra. So it's really interesting to see how it kind of
very much so. It's all connected.
yeah.
Everything's connected. Even, take, for example, something really basic, the weather.
Yeah.
We're all connected to it. When it's cold, we have different emotions. We feel a bit crappy. We feel, when the sun comes out,
How
it's
amazing is it to
you
walk down
wanna
the street?
absorb-
Everybody's smiling. Everyone's like,
you're absorbing the sunshine.
Yeah.
Everyone's, out there. That's when everyone starts exercising, riding bikes, or going for walks.
It's true.
Yeah.
Even though this is slightly off topic, but about the weather, I remember laughing at this report in Perth that because it's been when there was a crime wave surge because it was too hot and people were cranky and like
oh god,
and there was more crime because of the weather.
It was converting them. It was converting them to
Oh my
criminals.
goodness.
They were just like, oh, it's too hot. Oh, I need to steal something.
what am I gonna do?
I need to put my fist through a window.
It does affect, like you're saying,
It
it
does.
actually can affect us
Yeah,
emotionally, but then
yeah.
that self-awareness comes in as well. I'm catching myself. I tend to I've got a complaint jar at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every
really?
time- yeah, I've had it for years actually, and it's quite full.
And where does that go?
Where does it go?
Like the complaints. Who addresses it?
Oh, I mean, it's when I'm self-reflecting.
Oh, so
Oh, you
you're
just put it in
accountable
there.
for your
Well, I'm
own.
okay.
Ah,
It's for
okay.
myself.
Yeah.
So when
I know,
I
but you-
complain, I
so
throw
you
in
throw it in
money.
there.
I throw
Okay.
money
Yeah.
in there.
Is that when the weather gets bad?
Yeah.
It increases.
Oh,
yeah.
I noticed with the cold weather, like or if
I
it's
don't
too
like that
warm, I just whinge a lot, and then I've been.
When it's too warm as well.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my goodness.
I know, it's a bit silly, but
You
that's
want
why
that
I've got
even
that job.
balance.
Yeah.
It's a self-awareness.
Yes,
That's my
it
point.
is. It is.
Self-awareness.
But maybe you need to flip that around because I feel like that's a bit of that like self judgment.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can flip
yeah.
it around and be
It's
like,
true.
have like a what's the opposite of a
Celebrate.
Of a
like
complaint jar?
gratitude jar?
A
Maybe a gratitude jar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Flip it
For
around
every
and
time
be
I
like,
don't whinge.
well, every time you're like, this weather's awesome, or it's
Dollar.
hot,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
That's it.
That's true.
And then at the end,
Flip it around.
and then at the end, you see I'm not going on a Bali holiday.
Yeah, exactly. My gratitude jar is now taking me somewhere else.
Oh, that's a good
But
idea. Yeah.
It does affect.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, you're crazy and stuff. But sometimes the full moon, I get
I was a new
more
moon the
hair
other
and
day.
whiskers and my ears grow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But that cycle, that whole cycle, that
Yeah.
28 days or or whatever it is, that it's all. I don't know. Some people don't believe in it. I do, but it's that cycle where you feel something, you tend to ignore it, but you go on and you push on for the rest of the day. But there is something happening. There is something there.
For sure. And especially us women, I feel
Oh.
like we're sensitive to it because we
Yeah.
have our own cycles,
Every 28 days.
Yeah, so
I'd
it's
say
like-
that.
There's a
Yeah.
common a
Yeah.
common thing there.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
There's-
We're very connected to the moon. And I think, once us as women start to tune into our own cycles and where we're at, then
Yeah.
we can start to see, okay, I'm at this phase of my bleeding, I'm gonna slow down and I'm not gonna take on all of the social activities and I'm gonna plan that
Yeah.
for this time. And so it's interesting in the world that we live in, like businesses and things are built on this kind of patriarch
Yeah.
kind of idea of
Yeah.
you just go, but we're very cyclic. So it's difficult, I feel, to be forced to be go all the time when it's not really listening to how we are,
Yeah.
But
But it's not only the women, because it's the individual as well.
Mhm.
There are some individuals that have their moments, right? And
Yeah.
they can go only so far, and then when you push them a bit to that edge or whatever it is, then that's when problems arise. That's when people start getting cranky and this and that. It's everyone, even even at home sometimes. So yeah, you have to just be considerate to the individual.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
make sure
Especially around the
when
full
those
moon.
days are. Yeah, make sure we know when those
Stay
days are.
outside on the
Yeah.
full moon.
Yeah, or in the shed.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about all of this and your area and this, it's not even a genre. It's bigger than that. How do you develop, like, how do you go forward for yourself? How do you what is that thing that you do that, okay, look, I probably need to improve on that, or I need to probably read a bit more of this, or how do you develop? Because you develop, right? Everyone develops.
Yeah.
What's that
I
like?
think it's for me it's more development of I guess offerings, collaborations, people that I work with. I learn so much from the people that I work with, right? And I'm sure you guys
Yeah.
feel the same,
Yeah.
And so working in these new kind of venues, like I'm working at Aurora Spa and Bathhouse
Yeah,
in
I saw
Sorrento.
that, yeah.
Ooh.
Incredible. So places like that with, the founder, she's incredible and she's just got such an entrepreneurial mind. And working with different people like this just kind of, I don't know, it's inspiring and it allows you to feel into, okay, what could be the next possibility for me? Where does this lead? And it's, for me, it's all about the people and the connections that you make,
So true, and that's a vital part, because you're with people every day, especially in your realm as well as in our realm as well. It's like you always got people that you're going to be performing for or working with.
Yeah.
So it's very important for that development. You need to have that people skills as well.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone can do it.
Mm.
Like, I can see you feel very comfortable around what you do.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
It's also a presence. I think with it feels like even just having you here, I feel very relaxed myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just you're obviously very I guess you're just connected to the present. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, and it
Yeah.
just feels like this energy right now is just flowing.
Like an openness.
Yeah, the openness. That's the word. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. I agree.
I feel like you're both quite open. That's why I'm, because I feed off other people's energy too, and I think you're both
and
really.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing when you can feed off energy and there's an exchange.
The curtains, no.
Yeah. No, it's still the Palo Santo from when Alex was here 4 months ago.
Yeah, shout out to Alex.
So, Mr. Kundalini. But see, that's very important. As I said before, that it affects. You know? And and this is why I got Amla onto the podcast too, because there's that exchange of energy, and it's about this podcast is not just about about us. It's about also the people out there, as many people who watch the podcast and listen to it, for them to have something to take back as well.
Yeah.
And this is that energy.
And there you go. You're being of service, just like what I spoke about. And that probably feels very aligned right now for both of you, like in what you're doing.
And we learn and grow from it too. Like definitely for me, I'm not much of a talker. I can be, but this is like really great. Gets me out of my inner chatter and just more in the moment, and just like when Valentino said it's all on the fly.
Yeah,
I'm like, where's the first few? I was like, okay, so what's the script? And you know,
what if I run out of questions?
Yeah.
We never do.
Yeah,
like we never run out of anything. It's like
thanks to Valentino.
The chatterbox. But that's so true. When I started these podcasts, I was scared out of my wits, and I thought, what am I going to do? Luckily for my first guest, I had a friend of mine, so it was nervous. But when we started talking, we forgot that the camera was there. And we just started chatting about our experiences, and that's how it sort of like evolved. And when we started getting people and guests on that we didn't know, it was actually more exciting because you get to learn. I've learned heaps from people that have come on, and you have this different aspect, different thing to life. It's just people have a different way of doing things, and they're sharing that with you. So that's for us. That's I'm very grateful for that. It's something that, as artists, and we mentioned this before with Amla, as artists and musicians, we tend to do gigs and we play and perform, but we never sit down and chat. We just do the gig, pack up, go home. Go home and then just veg out for a little bit.
And go home and go, oh, what worked? That gig,
and be self-critical. But with this, we get to sit down and we get to chat to some amazing people. We've chatted with some amazing people. It's like everyone's on their own little journey, as you are, and that journey I think needs to be out there.
Needs to be shared with everyone.
Well, we're lovers of stories and journeys, right? Because we're musicians. That's kind of what we love to hear, and we love to learn from others through their stories. And
that's right.
That's how we connect, right? Like emotionally, through song and through music. So it makes sense. Like
it does make sense. You are 100% on that, and we need to just keep on going with it.
Yeah.
You keep on making ourselves happy, making people around us happy, and I think what you're doing is a great thing. And I think people don't know how much it's going to help them until it clicks one day. It's like, they're not conscious of the fact that it's actually helping, but they also need to open themselves.
Yeah. And I get it, because these kinds of things, they can appear really woo-woo from the outside, like, the spiritual-y stuff. I don't know if I'm into that, especially if you're in the corporate world,
Yep.
But if you just dip your toes in, go to a yoga class or go to a meditation class or something, you'll start to see that it's not actually as like crazy as what it seems from the outside. It's actually.
I agree 100%, and I think that should go into the corporate world to actually help.
Yes. Well, I've done some sound healings in the corporate world, and that felt so full circle, because I went in there and I was like, wow.
I've been here before.
I've been in here, but I was in their shoes, and now I'm here and I'm helping them in a way that I always wanted to, because HR, like, it's human resources. That's why I was kind of drawn to it. I wanted to help people, and I just felt in that capacity that I couldn't. Like, in that way, I just felt like no, this is
Found your calling.
Yeah. And so through music and through sound, it's like I'm back here, but now I'm helping people in the way that I
How
was
was the
always meant
response?
to. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some people, it takes a while, right? Like
Yeah,
some
of
people,
course.
They
a
might need a
minute,
couple
as
of
soon as they're
sessions.
up, they're like, okay, I've got to go to this meeting, blah, 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 and they run off.
But if there's one person,
There's always the lingering ones that were like, wow, I don't know how I'm going to work for the rest of the day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
and you
good,
said
this
to
is
them,
good.
just don't, just take the
I'm
day
just
off,
like,
go home.
just take it easy. Just sit back at your desk and let it all flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
very important.
yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
important. People just need to snap out of the buzz sometimes, you know, and just hang on.
Yeah.
I found that when I started meditating and I was still in that corporate environment, I'd go out and I'd sit somewhere and meditate, either outside in the park or whatever, and I'd come back. I'd get so much done in that second half
Yeah.
of the
It
day.
is way
More
more
clarity.
efficient.
Yeah,
More
focus.
clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, all everything, you know, everything is in a different light. It's like you've been habit for the whole morning, and it's like, oh my God, I have to get out of here for a little bit. So you go and you come back and you think, all right, you'll be more productive in those 2 to 4 hours if you actually clear your mind rather than a day and a half. getting a
Absolutely.
habit.
Like you think of it like a computer with all the tabs open.
Yeah,
Like
all
it's
the
going to run
files
slower,
everywhere.
right?
Yeah,
But as soon as you close all of those tabs,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. Then once you start again,
yeah.
it's going to be smoother. That's just kind of how our mind is too. You just got to clear it all out.
But we're afraid
then
of
start
losing those
again.
tabs.
Yeah.
We're afraid of losing. We had
That's what
information
notes
there.
are
What-
for. Notepad, baby.
Yeah, but
Notepad.
that happens in the mind too.
Yeah, I know.
Spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Yes, and this
we're
is why I
afraid
keep
we're going to lose
notes.
this information or that information.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You got to
we're gonna
have
it.
like a notepad or a journal to keep all of
Yeah.
those things there so that they don't have to stay up here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or take some ginkgo or magnesium. the cognitive.
Prescribe
cognitive-
some.
Yeah, all the natural
Remedies
stuff.
now.
All the natural stuff.
dear.
You know.
Yeah.
Danielle, thank you so much. It's
a
been a pleasure.
This just flew. Thank you
Look,
so much for
No,
having me.
it was a pleasure, and I'm sure that everyone's gonna benefit that comes through your path, and
Thank
you know.
you.
And on that note, tell us about your upcoming
yes,
Yes.
like offerings and
So Friday the 24th of November, so that's only in about 2 weeks' time, we will be sound bathing at Aurora Spa
Ooh.
and Bathhouse in Sorrento. So it's
Might
literally
go.
it's literally
You
like
should.
sound. So an immersion of sound, singing bowls, voice, all of that, guided meditation, and you're literally in mineral baths. So there's hot and cold
Fantastic.
plunge. You're
Yeah.
going between them, so I can guide you through that too. It's called contrast therapy.
Wow.
And there's a Nordic sauna. There's a steam room. There's halotherapy, which is like a room that's basically covered in Himalayan salt.
Yep.
The place is absolutely incredible. Like they won like best spa in Australasia recently.
Oh wow.
yeah. And the best urban bathhouse as well. So no
Fantastic.
joke, like there's nothing else like it
Fantastic.
in Victoria. Like I'm telling you, it's insane.
We're also going to put up your links and everything like that.
Yeah.
To all your socials and everything like that.
Thank
Your
you.
website.
Thank you.
We wish you all the very best with your journey. I'm sure we're going to cross paths again.
I think so.
I feel like we
yeah.
are. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll
are.
like create
We
something
are.
together.
We
I'm
will.
already
We
thinking
will.
of yeah.
Just also want to thank our sponsors, Cake Eclipse and Music Pro Services as well. Yes.
Oh,
Cake
yes,
Eclipse
Music Pro
and
Services.
musicproservices.com. Danielle, thanks once again.
Thank you.
Yay.
Till next time. Ciao.
Bye.
The Strike A Chord Podcast, presented to you by ValentinoFlamenco.com and AmlaMusic.com.